republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have no announcements this evening. Our first appointment of the evening tonight is our new town clerk. If you want to pop in, you'll see a new face at the front counter after several months of vacancy. So would like to welcome Yvette Murray to our staff. She'll be serving as our new town clerk. She's from Milo, and she served as the deputy. Minot. And she served as the deputy town clerk there, so she's certainly walking in the door with a lot of experience, ready to hit the ground running. I already saw her waiting on customers today and whatnot, so we wanted to bring Yvette in, welcome her to the staff, let folks see who she is. And Yvette, if you'd like to share anything with us.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be your Waterboro town clerk. There's a lot to do out there to get caught up, but we'll do that. There's a lot of new faces. I will remember everybody's name. Won't take me long, but I'm here to serve the customers, so whatever their needs are, come on in. We'll help you. Anything else?
Okay. Thank you
Very
very
good.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, we're going to jump out of the agenda line a little bit. Lisa Faith is here from the school board, and she has another meeting she needs to run to, so we're going to get her in at the top of the lineup so she can give us her monthly report.
Thank you. I appreciate your willingness to do that for me. I'll start off just giving an overview of some things that are going on. As far as the Finance Committee goes, I think the board is relatively well aware of our situation, our, once again, dire financial situation in the district, and I know that your committee is set to come before our board meeting tomorrow night as a six-town consortium to talk to the board as a whole about what your parameters are for us to set our budget. So I won't belabor the budget issue. That's where finance is primarily concerned right now. Negotiations, obviously, we're negotiating 3 contracts this year with the teachers, the ed techs, and the administrators, so that's taking up a great deal of time from the negotiations committee. It also creates issues with the potential budget because we don't know what some of those figures are as far as salaries and benefits, but beyond that I can't elaborate on the negotiations committee because that is a, what am I trying to say? Having a brain cramp. It's a closed committee. So, with transportation, they graciously looked over some policies that we needed to have reviewed, and they made some updates and a significant change to one of the policies regarding transportation for the entire district, and that is that if you are granted a transportation route variance, that is not forever standing. It lasts for that school year and that school year only, and then it would have to be requested again before the Transportation Committee and reviewed once again for that. They made that change, and that has not been approved by the board yet. That has to go before the board for approval, so I'm not certain that that's the way it will stand, but the reasoning behind it is we have a lot of bus stops that have been in place for a number of years, and some of the stops are a very minimal distance from one another, and it's creating issues with not just traffic, but also with the burning of fuel and the time constraint that it takes for the buses to make those runs. So that's what they're looking to request from the board, is to have, once a route variance is granted, that it's not a long-standing variance and that it has to be requested and then reviewed every year. They have done a couple of route variances, one that you might be familiar with over in Lake Arrowhead that was initially changed and then it was pulled back, and then it was changed because the reason it was pulled back was that the procedures of going before the Transportation Committee, making the formal request, having the paperwork on file so that it was shown that it was a formal request, that had not been followed. So they had to pull it back and then go through that process, but it was indeed granted. Curriculum Committee, a couple of things on that. At the middle school, they're looking next year for their goals for 2011-2012, school-wide implementation of the performance standards-based system. They're looking to report out to parents 6 times per year rather than the 5 times per year that they're doing right now. And it's, I think, worth noting that we have quite a few teams from other schools and other districts that are coming to M.R.S.A Middle School to observe our performance-based standards curriculum and are looking to implement it, and we're getting a lot of compliments and a lot of feedback on what a great job our teachers are doing and how well it's been implemented, and a lot of schools are looking to duplicate what we do and are taking their lead from us. And even at the state level, we're getting a lot of recognition for the kind of job that they're doing at the middle school. So I think that says a lot about the process that's in place there. For the high school, at the last curriculum committee meeting, there were representatives, Bree Kennedy and Paul Wolf, from the York County Youth Financial Literacy Network, and they are a group that's sponsored by the United Way. They came before the curriculum committee hoping to be able to put some kind of financial literacy program into place at the high school, but it would also be a program that could be implemented earlier on in the elementary school as well as in the middle school. And a lot of those programs are at little or no cost. And what they're hoping to do is educate the students about personal finance and also the financial issues that have come into prominence and forefront in our economy right now. And that is something that they're looking at potentially to implement. If it not next year, they may try to implement it in coming years at the high school level in the curriculum. Some of the course curriculum adjustments for the high school is, again, that financial algebra that would have that into play, and a pre-calc to go with the honors pre-calc. We have an honors pre-calc class, but they're looking at a regular level pre-calc class. And they're looking at doing some rewriting in the world history department, and also to bring back world geography. And they're looking at, they've added an AP physics class, which a lot of kids were very excited about. It'll be a 1.5 credit course. And some of the courses in the English department will change from plays and poems to American literature, and just some minor changes with that. Some of the new courses they're looking at is an AP World History course, which they don't have right now. They just have an AP American History course. And what they're hoping to do is alternate years with some of these things. So one year, let's say in 2011, 2012, they'd offer AP World History. In 2012, 2013, they'd go back to AP Government. And then the years would switch back and forth. So kids that are juniors and seniors, maybe their strong point is history. One year they can take one AP history class, and the next year they can take the other AP history class. They're also looking at the same thing with world geography. One year it would be that, and one year it would be another history class that they would alternate back and forth with. And the same in science. One year they would offer oceanography, and one year marine biology, and switch back and forth. And then environmental science and anatomy and physiology. So they're looking at offering those things to the kids that are interested, as well as being able to, instead of having classes that are so small that you have very little interest and kids can't take them, combining a couple of years' worth of kids that are interested in it and being able to take those classes. So that's some of the curriculum changes that they're looking at the high school that has not been approved by the board, but they went before the curriculum committee to get that ball rolling. On policy, we're continuing the review of our manual, which is in a 3-year cycle. We're in the 2nd year of that cycle. I've been working directly with Bonnie M.R.S.A, who is in the IT department and over at the East Building at the high school. And because we had some problems with our website and the policy section of our website, we had lost policies once, it had crashed. There were some policies that were outdated and shouldn't have been on there, and just some general technology burps. What I do, and I need you to know that this is great pain to me, is I give her the sections out of my policy manual, which I guard with my life, because it's 286 policies and it took us 5 years to get that up to date. So, but I take them in section by section, she scans them in, so I know as a policy chair that what's on the website is the same thing I have in my manual. And as we update the policies, I personally take them over to her. She scans them in and they go on the website. It's still in the process of having that completed, but when you go to the website, the policies that are on there are the policies that are in my manual. And so if somebody were to call me with a policy question and they're looking at the website and I'm looking at my manual, we're looking at the same thing. So we're going along, and she's been absolutely great with getting those in and being fantastic about it. We're also continuing to work on policy JJIC, which is the policy about eligibility and participation in extracurricular and co-curricular activities. That's been a very lengthy process, and we were waiting on information from the high school in particular about the first trimester, how kids did, how many kids would be affected by the stringency of our policy, and so we're continuing to work on that. It was a 1.5-year process, or about a 9-month process, I guess, the first time around, and it's been well over a 1.5 years working on it this time. So that's where we stand on that. The PR committee is still hoping for a Waterboro community member to be willing to come and sit on our PR committee and attend meetings probably about 3 to 4 times a year. Someone preferably who does not have children in the school district, because we're hoping to work with someone who can help us figure out ways that we can reach the community members who don't have kids in the school. People who have kids in the school receive a lot of information from the school. They know a lot about what's going on, but the general public who doesn't have kids in the school, it's difficult for them to know some of the things that are happening in the schools and going on in the district. So we're still looking for someone. If anybody knows of anybody, if anybody's interested, we would be thrilled. Just contact central office, let them know what it is that you're looking for, tell them you're interested in being a member on the PR, a community member on the PR committee, and we would love to have you. Also, I have given Dave's name and phone number and contact information to my PR chair and the head of our technology department, so that they can be in touch with him in the hopes that we can get back to having our meetings filmed. And we're not quite the technology wizards that Dave is, and so we're sure that he can help us somehow. And I'm sure they'll be getting in contact with him if they haven't already. Just a couple of other points of interest that you might like to know. Lauren Pierce, who is a senior at the high school this year, has been recognized as a finalist in the National Merit Scholarship, and that's quite a big accomplishment, and so we're really, really proud of her for doing that. And as you may have read in the paper, we had a student receive the Horatio Alger Award, and so that's quite impressive as well. And also on the music front, we had over 40 kids in the district at the high school who made it into the District 1 Honors Music Festival and participated in that on the 29th of January. And that's the largest amount we've ever had from the district. And then we have approximately 10 kids who made it into All-State this year, the All-State Music Festival, which will be held in May. And that's the largest number we've ever had from that as well. And that encompasses both chorus and concert band, orchestra, and jazz band. And so we're very proud of how our kids have done on that level as well. Are there any questions?
So congratulations to the accomplishments of those students.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say that I appreciate very much the Selectmen's willingness to work with the Finance Committee, and I appreciate the communication, cooperation that's gone on with that, and I'll look forward to seeing any of you there tomorrow evening.
In looking at grades for, is it tied to after-school activities? I know there's one way of looking at it is the kids that are affected that are unable to participate. But what about looking at, I'm wondering if they've looked at the kids that are participating and comparing their grades while they're participating versus when they're not, when it's off-season, so to speak.
I don't think that there's been any research done on that. With the policy, JJIC, what we would be looking at is somewhat of a compromise from what we had before. We did put a sample policy out to all of the board members on the board and tried to get their feedback as to what they were looking for. Some were very strict and said, if you fail anything, you can't participate. Some said, it would be okay if you failed one thing, but you must maintain, satisfactory grades in all of your other classes. Right now, we're following the MPA guidelines, Maine Principals Association guidelines, because we've gone to a trimester schedule. It's slightly different than what the MPA states in their language, because they still operate assuming under a semester schedule. And theirs is that you must be passing 4 classes. You know, at the trimester schedule, you can only take 5 classes at once. If you were passing 4, then that would fall into the it's okay to fail 1. And the reason, it's not that we think it's acceptable for kids to fail. We realize that at times kids have difficulty with certain subjects. Or there may be something going on at home that has created a problem that wouldn't otherwise be there. But as far as comparing how they do when they're participating to how they are doing when they're not, there hasn't been anything along those lines.
I'm just saying, there has been some research in the past that the busy kids usually get the best grades too. That kids, while they're busy in an activity, use their time more effectively in studying when they don't have the activity and they tend to be goofing off.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes those kids that are playing football or in wrestling or something or in hockey, their grades go up while they're playing.
Yeah, I don't think that they've done any comparative analysis with that. I think the board's concern is our primary function is to educate kids and to have them ready to go on and either go to a technical college, a 4-year college, whatever their choice is, but to prepare them for college. And we need to have acceptable standards, and we feel that that's our first goal, is to make sure that they're being educated and that they aren't simply just passing, but that they understand what they're learning, that they can utilize what they're learning. And I don't know where this is going to end up, because it will be the decision of the board as to what the final policy looks like. I do know that the high school is working very hard to have intervention in place for kids that are not passing. And I do know that they're working very hard at their progress reports, that if the kids aren't passing, to get them into that intervention right then. And part of the reason for going to the trimester schedule was so that if a kid was not successful their first trimester in a particular subject, they could then take that subject again in the next trimester with a different teacher and try to be more successful. Because ultimately, you have to have 24 credits to graduate from M.R.S.A High School. And if you're failing a class on a regular basis, you're not going to have those 24 credits, you're not going to graduate. That hurts our graduation numbers, and that hurts our standing with the state and also with NEASC, which does our evaluation as far as our accreditation. So.
Anything else? All right, Lisa, thank you very much.
Thank you, and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate again your allowing me to go early.
We all understand what it's like to be busy. Okay, moving on at 6:15.
It's that time of year again for the annual fishing derby. I believe this year is the 12th annual fishing derby that's hosted by FET. And as we've done the past 3 or 4 years, we just like to get together with a representative from FET and just kind of go over the game plan for the day, and go through any questions that we might have. I'll just comment on last year, and if anybody else has any comments as well. I know I was around for the fishing derby and got an opportunity to ride around with the chief a little bit and with Deputy Sanborn, and I think last year, in my opinion, was probably the best organized as far as parking goes that we've had. I think doing the parking on one side of the road, on all of the roads that surrounded the lake, made all of the difference in the world. I think it was nice, it was ice too. I think a lot of people kind of went out on the ice too, but I think that really was something that was very positive last year. I think having the deputy there at 4 a.m. Just prevent anybody from starting the parking problems. I think that made a big difference as well. And I know, talking to some of the owners and properties on the Weber Road, they appreciated the parking situation last year as well. Of course, you've always got a couple of bad apples and the bunch. And one question that was asked of me from a resident who was at the meeting last year was, talked about last year, about maybe in the rules this year having that if somebody trespassed on private property, them being disqualified from the Derby, and he was looking, I guess, specifically in the rules to see if that had been added this year, and didn't see where it had, but he remembered that conversation from last year, so I told him I would mention that for him, that was something that was talked about last year. But other board, anything else from the board or Nancy?
I've got something that was brought to my attention by a citizen of the town, and I'm not sure what you can do about it, because I think the majority of everything went well last year, but there was some people concerned about refuse that was left on their property and some on the lake. But I know that you can't be everywhere all the time, and there's a distinction sometimes between people that are actually in the tournament and people that aren't. And so it's extremely difficult. I only raised it because it was brought to my attention, number one. And number two, if I let you know about it, then as they're registering, it may be something, about, help us clean our trash up, something like that can be mentioned, and maybe we can, work our way through it.
I'm Colin Canning, Coco, as most people know me. And with regards to the trash pickup, it's been an ongoing issue, obviously, you get that many people in one place. It'll always continue to be, and I hate to say an issue, but it's not a perfect situation, of course. We've continued over the years to hand out trash bags as people come through. One disadvantage in later years is that a lot of people sign up ahead of time. They're not required to come through the tent or the quote-unquote registration area down at the boat launch. A lot of people don't want to go near there because it's hectic, it's busy, and they have arrangements with either friends, family, places to park and so on, which is a good thing for everyone. We certainly have always encouraged that. That's why we have the dumpster there. We have trash pickup done after. I actually have not gotten the word from Scott Butler, who usually handles that with Todd Abbott, but I believe the four-wheeler club is going to help us out with that again this year. So having the guys out there with machines that can get around regardless of the snow like we have this year. We're going to continue to do the best we can with it. I know in the past, the other thing we've had some issues with were a week or two later, people having concerns, and the hard part is we try to take a look at the lake as best we can get around it prior to the Derby to make sure how much is out there before. There's a lot of people out there fishing day in and day out, and I'm not saying that we're getting a bad rap because of that or anything like that. I just am very aware, because I'm on that lake a lot, that everybody's not always doing the right things on a daily basis, regardless of the Derby. So anyway, I guess the best thing I can say is that we absolutely will continue to do everything we can, which includes inspecting the lake after the Derby, and making sure that we do everything possible to keep up, keep as few people concerned as possible. Any other suggestions, of course, we're always trying to do to make the situation better, but I think we've had a pretty good plan in place most of the time. With regard to, I don't recall that, unfortunately, that we had the discussion about actually putting something in the rules about disqualification. But I can tell you that I can tell you right now, if I'll go along with that, doesn't matter if it's in the rules or not. As the president of the organization, I'll tell you that if we have a formal complaint that the sheriff's department, actually would be the town deputy, feels that the situation warrants that, then I have no problem with that whatsoever. So just to let everybody know that that's fine. We're not in a situation that we want people disturbing or bothering anybody's property. I mean, we're trying to provide an event where people can go out and have fun, and unfortunately, again, when you get that many people together, there's going to be a few that just can't keep your arms around. So, but that's why we're going to have as much law enforcement as we possibly can have there, including multiple wardens. Last year, At one time, there were 3 wardens there. And other times, we've had 3 to 4. Sometimes they're undercover, sometimes they don't even show themselves, but they are there. So they're out there kind of keeping an eye on things to make sure that people aren't doing dangerous things is our biggest concern. So if there's any questions or anything else along those lines, just let me know.
We do know that Sean's working. Is that I guess that's a question.
I'll have to check, see what his schedule is that day,
And
but,
I know there's been a year or so that
yeah.
he was not working, which presented similar
Okay.
problems. I'm not sure if he is or not.
I'll look into it. I'm gonna meet with Matt tomorrow about some things we're working on, so we'll hunt him down and make sure. And also, I have to get verification that we can have, last year, we paid some overtime for another deputy to be over there, so that's the intent. So having somebody, as you mentioned, having somebody there, 4 o'clock in the morning, just the lights flashing, makes our guys, we have parking guys out there that are dedicated solely to that, and they do a heck of a job, but having the blue light flashing next to them when
Puts
they
a
tell
little heat
somebody to
behind
move
it.
that vehicle makes it, it's just, shouldn't be that way, but it has to be, so it's worked out really well for us. Getting back to the parking real quick, spoke with Matt, we're gonna have another, I guess, he said the amount of signs that they have is getting down, so we're gonna order another batch. We'll take care of the expense for that, and also we're gonna help out on Saturday with the placement of the signs. I know last year, those guys did most of it for us, and I say for us, for everyone. And I'm gonna make sure that we have people available to place them per the plan from last year. Sean and Matt were in agreement that the way things were done last year, we're gonna go with it again. Good response,
Yeah.
obviously, from Tammy, and I guess that'll be taken care of on Saturday. As far as parking goes, it's not gonna be easy. There's not gonna be a lot of driving on the lake this year. So we're just gonna do what we've always done, do the right thing, and hope that everybody uses their head. Fish stocking, there is gonna be a fish stocking. I won't tell you when, because we never tell you when. But there will be fish stocked in the lake the week prior to the Derby. Should be some nice brook trout again too. Usually we see quite a few of them caught that day, so works out pretty well. Especially when you see those kids come running in with a nice fat brook trout. So as far as that goes, the other thing we're gonna work on is the, down at the boat launch, gotta work with the road commissioner and anybody else that's willing to help us out. As far as cleaning things up and also keeping Mike happy as far as what we're doing down there. We've had a very good relationship on that. I've always communicated needs to him as far as trying to keep the erosion down and keeping it clean and so on. But again, we don't have the means to regulate anything down there other than common sense. So we'll do our best and try to keep everybody safe and keep them from tearing up the boat launch area or any of the beach down there, anything like that. So a lot of ice and snow this year, so that doesn't hurt that cause. But moving the snow and getting it so we can even get things set up down there is going to be a fun part, but we'll deal with it.
Matt, did you have a comment?
Just my thought as far as a contract deputy goes, that it might be a good idea if it came from the town or the board as a request for them to be on that day specifically. I think in years past, he may have been scheduled on a day off and not really get the ability to move around the schedule.
Nancy will take care of that tomorrow.
That's pretty much all I have. Just send a thanks out. Local sponsorship for this has continued to be huge support, and I'm amazed. As tough as things are out there, and we go back to the same folks, all the local businesses, too many to mention, but anybody who's at the Derby, take a look at our sponsor board out there and see all these people, these big and small businesses, but mostly local, a lot from Waterboro, a lot from the surrounding communities, and I'm amazed, that we've been able to continue pretty much at the same level we've been at, because they still continue to support it, so everybody really enjoys themselves out there, yes.
For people at home who are wondering why you have this fishing derby every year, I know it's for a number of great causes. Why don't you just kind of tick through that list?
It revolves mostly around Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs, state program. that just gives kids an alternative to doing good things, being out in the outdoors and learning how to fish. As part of that, we provide the opportunity to sign up for traps. If you don't have traps, you don't have equipment, we have bait there, and so on at the Derby every year. We have guys assigned to go out and drill some holes and get people set up. And we have single parents that come out with their kids that have never been on the ice or never been fishing of any sort. It combines nicely with the fact that it's a free fishing weekend. Anybody that wants to come out isn't required to have a license for that day. So that's been a nice thing over the years that we've had it scheduled on that particular date. And that's one of the reasons we've continued to do it, even though it does conflict with the Daytona 500. I continue to have a problem. But anyway, as far as other things go, the conservation of Southern Maine Water is a program that specifically targets the lakes that we have in our area. As far as the monies that we give, they get a large match. Federal money comes in. If we give them money, it gets matched. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are at this point, but it's considerable. And fortunately, we've been able to give them a lot of money over the years to do things like buy equipment for doing fish studies, some hatchery. We just specifically gave some money to one of the hatcheries to buy some equipment and to continue to try to keep fish in our waters in the southern part of the state. So that, as well as we work with local food bank to help out some things like that. So number of things. It varies from year to year, but we try to basically make it focused on community and fishing, pretty much.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay, thank you.
Matt, do you have anything else?
I mean, one of the issues too has been snow. And the more snow we have, the narrower the roads and the bigger problem it is with the parking. But so hopefully, we don't get another big snowstorm between now and then. And we, I think the other part is I don't know if we can push the snow back a little bit, have the snow pushed back just a little bit further in the areas that people do the
State was
parking.
around today, setting back banking, so I don't know what that looks like up there. I haven't taken it.
Yeah, and Foglio's been really good about going around and pushing back
Yeah.
the snow so that there's room for the next storm that comes in.
Yeah.
I don't, how much snow is down? Have you been down, Coco? Down there?
At the boat launch itself, I haven't.
It's
I kinda-
slush now.
It's a mess. I haven't gone down and specifically looked at it because, to be honest with you, we don't know what we're gonna get between now and then, so until like the middle of next week, I don't wanna make any moves and say, hey, can we get some snow moved? Can we do this, can we do that? Because it's kinda like, it could change a lot between now and then, so. I hope it doesn't, but I hope that every week, all winter, and that doesn't happen, so, anyway.
Yeah, there's not much room down there. If we get
We
much
always
more, we
get
might
a
have to
lot,
haul
we
it
always
all.
get a lot of help from some private people as well as town equipment, so we'll do what we gotta do to make it right down there, best it can be.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Okay, hearing a delegation. Correspondence, I will comment on one correspondence that we did receive, the board received, it's not on our list, but it was regarding sidewalk plowing over on West Road, and Nancy has made verbal contact with the person responsible for the sidewalk plowing, and Tommy's gonna keep an eye out on that in the future to make sure we don't have any other problems this year, so that has been addressed. Town administrators report.
We only have just a couple of things, because we're working on the budget. Now we're working on deadlines, coming up very closely. One other thing is with this LD 100 that's before, it's up in Augusta, is if that goes through, we're gonna lose another $14,126 of revenue sharing. So between what was taken out last March and this one, we'll have lost $142,702.
They're gonna promise never to do it again, though.
Yeah.
But whatever we do not receive from the state, we can also add to our cap for our LD1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
Anything else, Nancy?
Well, you'll mention them in the reminders of the budget meeting.
Yep.
Right?
Selectmen's report.
I'd like to mention the Historical Society is having a plan to renovate the Grange, and there's and I don't have it with me, and I was looking for it. Maybe you can think of what it is right off the top of your head.
Bangor Savings Bank.
Bangor Savings?
Community Matters.
They are gonna be giving out, I think it's 98 grants.
68.
68?
Yeah.
Okay. Throughout the state, and all you have to do is log on and indicate what your vote is. And if you put down there for the Grange Hall, the more votes we get, the more chances we'll have in being a recipient of one of those grants.
So you Google Bangor Savings, and then as you see in there, they mention the grant program, and then it has a list of counties. You go down to York County, and if it has an open space in the bottom, you can type in the Waterboro Grange Hall, Waterboro Historical Society, rather.
Yeah,
And
renovation.
if there's enough people put that in, you get $5,000 to $10,000.
Now, they're having a difficulty with their website when I put it in, so you may have to, check back in a day or two if it doesn't take it right away. But at least try to get your vote, and they may even have it fixed by now, because I tried a couple of days ago.
I was working this morning.
It was working this morning, so.
And you can actually vote for 3 organizations to get those grants. So, and there are some other local organizations as well that are on that ballot list. So you get to pick 3. Anything else? Dennis?
Tammy? Yeah. Eagle Maine, which is a local household waste and recycling plant that we work with, each year has a award ceremony to recognize citizens or business or organizations that are involved in environmental issues, recycling, some type of thing that's going to help the environment. And if anybody out there knows of individuals or business or organizations that has done something in the past year, we would like you to contact the Selectmen or the Recycling Committee, and this has to be done by February 18th, so we can nominate that individual or group and have them recognized by Eco Maine.
Pick up a copy of the Reporter this week. You'll see that the Economic Development Committee has an ad this week in the Reporter, and they're beginning a project to encourage residents to utilize local businesses. It kicked off with a Reporter ad, and they're going to be following up with some posters and visiting some of the local businesses and asking them to put up these posters in the store that encourage residents to support local business. It lists why supporting local businesses is helpful to the local economy. It has some facts and figures about what the local business community contributed to our tax revenues last year. And it's going to eventually also be some brochures that are going to be available for people. You stand at the counter and you're looking for something to read, and there's something there that you can grab. But it's not only going to be looking at promoting just shops and stores. It's all local businesses. It's the local plumber, the local electrician, the local contractor, all of those, what Tom calls cottage industries, those home businesses. And there's actually a study that was done by the Institute for Local Self-Reliance. This is the 4th year that they've done this study. And it's a national organization, and what they've been able to show, the trends of communities that have some kind of a buy local program, their businesses are actually doing better in the economy, even though the economy's not doing so well right now. communities that have those local programs are doing better than communities that don't. If somebody's wondering why the EDC is doing this rather than the Waterboro Association of Business, the EDC can make this a broad stroke and include all businesses, whereas the WAB would be more focused on its supporting its membership. So the EDC tackled this so that we can help all of the local businesses. This Friday, I'm going to be meeting with Patricia Gulnak. She is from the Partners for Healthier Communities. It's a division of Goodall Hospital. She is a liaison, and she's kind of new to Waterboro. I actually met her at the visioning session that we had a month or so ago, and she's interested in learning a little bit more about our community, kind of taking a look at the sites of Waterboro, what's available, and then she's looking to work with the board and with the town on helping to promote a healthier community. So looking forward to that meeting on Friday with her and sharing that information with the board. Finally, I got an email from Aaron this afternoon, Aaron Libby, our state rep, and he was not able to be here tonight because they had an afternoon session, and that he said the afternoon session will be a floor vote on the supplemental budget. And he also wanted us to know that he and 2 other representatives are going to be meeting with somebody on February 23rd regarding the school EPS formula. So there's 3 of them that are tackling that are in the RSU 57 district. So nice to see that there might be some, support from us up at the Augusta level on that. All right, committee reports, we already had RSU 57 in. Next, under new business, we have the consent agreement. And we have Patty presented to us a few weeks ago for a consent agreement for map 33, lot 25, and this would be between Donald and Dorothy Bornstein and the town of Waterboro. And what this addresses is a retaining wall that was built in violation. And Patty, did you want to share anything else with us about this, or?
Well, I just want to tell you that Glenn Shura is here representing the Lawrensteins.
Okay.
They cannot be here. They provided in writing that he had permission to speak for them. Basically, if you agree to the terms of this, we need to set the penalty and the date of completion, which I suggest to be June 1st, and I think that should be okay.
Okay, and you had recommended a fine of $1,000, and that would cover all of the costs that were incurred by the town. And
Also, I have it in writing that DEP is in agreement. It's always good to get that in writing with this proposal, so
Okay.
that they won't come back and change our minds for us.
okay, and what this is going to require the removal of the retaining wall, the planting of some vegetation, the fine, and that the work be done in a timely fashion. Did you have anything that you wanted to add for the Bornsteins?
Yeah, well, I guess, just a couple statements.
Could I just ask you to step up to the podium, please?
The Bornsteins or Champion Construction, we were not trying to sidestep shoreline zoning regulations or Waterboro's land use regulations. In fact, as soon as the code officer brought it to our attention, I was in her office asking, what do we do now? So we've been in full cooperation from day one on this matter. And I will say what is existing now is 100% better than what was there before as far as protecting the lake. And in my opinion, what's there now is better than what we have to do to protect the lake. The Bornsteins are main residences. Judy taught in Waterboro. Her brother was principal of the Alfred School, so it's not like they're out-of-staters. They are Maine people who happen to live in Florida. That's it.
Thank you.
Do we have a date here? An actual date?
Patty recommended June 1st, 2001, that the work all be completed by June 1st, and that's what's in the contract here.
I noticed there's some blanks in here regarding when the fine amount shall be paid.
Yeah, we have to agree
So-
on
So we need to, I
It
think,
should be paid on the day that it gets signed.
that. Did I see an email that there was some correspondence that they would pay it within 5 business days?
Yes.
Well, they've gotta come and sign, right?
And the board has to sign it in front of a notary also. So it is, the vote can be tonight, it isn't something that has to be signed tonight, but there is a copy in the to be signed folder where we can fill in the date and the fine amount by hand.
We can notary. So if we approve it and we want to sign it tonight, Nancy can notarize our signatures.
Can the board's teams have it signed and notarized in Florida? They don't have to come to Waterboro to do this, do they?
Usually send it back with a check.
Yep.
So what's the pleasure of the board?
We accept it.
second.
With a $1,000 fine and payable within 5 business days?
And work to be completed by June 1st.
All right, so we have a motion from David, a second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Okay, next on the agenda, under old business, the results of the RSU 57 and 6 town BOS meeting. Gordon?
We met, let's see, it was last Thursday night, and there was, the purpose of that particular meeting was to arrive at a consensus amongst the 6 towns on what we would support regarding the RSU 57 budget. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. Limerick and Newfield said 0% increase. They wouldn't support anything higher than that. Shapley was willing to go to whatever the minimum requirement was so that the school would still retain state and federal grant monies. The town of Alfred would support a 3.26% increase, which was the basically the flat funding that the school had proposed that was the lowest. And I told them that the Waterboro board could not support anything higher than a 3% increase.
What about Lyman?
Lyman, I believe, I can't remember, to tell you the truth. There is a letter being prepared by John Sylvester that's going to be read at the RSU 57 school board meeting, which is going to be, I believe, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in what they call the east building of the high school. Some people know it informally as the Freshman Academy. And like I say, again, that's going to be at 7 o'clock when that meeting will take place. And basically, we'll know more after the school board meets to discuss what we presented them.
Any questions for them? Okay. Next, under other, entertain a motion to sign warrants for bills and payroll.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
There's no minutes to sign.
We have no minutes to sign. Pending decisions, we have the medical marijuana ordinance, the public service announcements, the performance bonds, which we'll see Tom in March for, and the committee self-evaluations. The week's actions list, we just have, we need to make sure that the sheriff is notified to have Sean on duty for the FET. And discussion of agenda items for next week. So far on the list for next week, we have Central Maine Power Company is coming in. They called and specifically requested to come in and offer to be here for residents that have questions about the smart meters. So they're gonna be here to give some information about the smart meters and be here for residents that have questions. So if there are any residents that have questions or concerns about the smart meters, and I know they have started being installed in Waterboro, next week is your opportunity to come in and be here and talk to somebody from Central Maine Power and have your questions about the smart meters answered. We needed to get in touch with the water district and potentially have them come in about
Yeah, contacted them, I told them we needed to talk to them.
Okay, so are they coming in?
I don't know if they're coming in next week or not. I told the chairman to get with, when everybody could come in at once, and I haven't heard back. I'll give them a call tomorrow.
Well, it would be to our advantage to force the issue. I mean, leaving it up in the air doesn't really resolve what we need to do.
And with Pam being out too, she would be the one to get the information from. I'll get ahold of David.
Okay. We have a property owner that wanted to come in next week, is that?
Yes.
Okay. And
There'll be 2 property owners. I got a text message tonight from someone that would like an appointment to meet with the Board of Selectmen to appeal a letter or decision that he received from the tax assessor regarding, I guess, a request for abatement and so forth. He wants to appeal that.
what's the
would not
process
He
for
can't
that?
come
process.
before the board, he has to go to the,
Zoning
For
board of
ZBA.
appeals?
no, the
Assessing board.
assessing board of review.
Okay. I'll get with you after then to get the particulars on that then.
Okay. Anything else for the agenda next week? Okay. We do have an executive session following our meeting tonight under 405-6A Personnel Matter. Reminders, tomorrow, Wednesday, February 9th at 5 PM, the Board of Selectmen will be meeting here for our ongoing budget meeting. And Nancy informed me today that our budget is due to the Finance Committee on Friday. Wednesday, February 9th, 6 PM, the Road Review Committee is meeting at Town Hall. Thursday, February 10th, 6:30 PM, the Old Homes Days Committee is meeting at Town Hall. Also on Thursday evening, the Finance Committee is meeting at 7 PM. Saturday, February 12th at 8:30 AM, the Cribbage Tournament at Town Hall. Monday, February 14th at 7 PM, the Parks and Rec Committee is meeting at Town Hall, and I would hope with it being Valentine's that Mike is gonna provide, some heart-shaped cookies or something.
There may be, in the interest of his marital preservation, he may not we may have to cancel that meeting, because I think he's gonna have plans. I don't wanna say exactly what they are, because I don't know if he's gonna surprise her or what, but I did have a talk with him today, and he says it's getting lonely and crowded in the doghouse. So I think
I'm gonna say if he does something, that will be surprising.
Yeah, really.
So,
Probably the dogs kicked him out of the doghouse.
yeah. And then Tuesday, February 15th, 6 PM, the Selectmen's meeting here, and reporting next week will be the Transfer Station Manager, the Transfer Station Committee, and Eco Maine representative. So with that, I would entertain a motion going into executive session 1 M.R.S.A. 405-6A personnel.
So moved.
second.
All those in favor? And we'll adjourn after the meeting, so thank you. And we hear it's getting a little slick out there, so if you're on the roads tonight, be careful driving.
Bankings are high, and a lot of times you have to creep out into the intersection to actually, see if there's any oncoming traffic, so just be aware of that. And I only say that because my uncle was just involved in an accident where he was nearly killed just because of that, the high snow banking, so be aware of that.